Whoa, when the Lord pulls the lever, you will be free. I thought I would add on a dissonant note because we don't want to overdo it. We don't want to come off all kinds of brilliantly exponential. You've got to throw some errors in there because then it humanizes what you're attempting to do. And let's face it, in the presence of God, or even in the presence of others, we always fall a little bit short of the absolute, the possibilities of perfection, because only God is perfect. And the only time we are perfect is when God is perfected within us, but God is already perfect, so we are then so aligned with God that perfection is the reality. Well, how about that? Anyway, welcome to the long-awaited next edition of Practicing the Presence of God. Now, we used to do this several years ago now, and I think there's still 7 or 8 of them online at YouTube. We got away from it. We got into the more indirect stuff, the recording music, writing the blogs, and we stopped with the live expressions except for the few interview sessions we had with James Jensic at Feet to the Fire. Anyway, here I am again, working from the exponential posture. I had just done 8 solid minutes of some of the best that I've ever done here just moments ago, a little while ago. And, you know, as far as flow and continuity and really feeling like I was on, and it turned out I had the volume way too low and I didn't know how to fix it. So here I am having to do it again, and hopefully as I get over my initial uncertainty with the medium, because I really haven't done this in a while, and it's always a little bit of getting used to. So to the point of the reason, or to the reason of why I am doing this today, we're all familiar with the, don't even know how to pronounce it now, basket, this alignment at 4 degrees of all the slowest planets with the exception of Saturn. And during that period, which happened, I don't know, a week or so, 10 days ago, I didn't sleep on any of those nights. And ordinarily, I am just absolutely not affected by these dates of significance, like when the harmonic convergence came. I went way out into the jungle by the water and nothing happened. In 2012, same kind of thing, nothing happened. And there have been other things, the blood moon eclipses and stuff. You know, I go out to the casita and, you know, sit meditatively, you know, trying to get into the atmosphere. And nothing happened. But this basket thing, that threw me for a loop. I was afraid I had suddenly entered a time period where I wouldn't be able to sleep as well as I had been in the past. I've never really had much of a problem going to sleep unless I was in an altered state where I might be up for days, who knows. Yeah, the good old days. God, that's good. I have a few simple pleasures. This is one of them. I'm on the lowest setting. There's hardly anything in it anymore, and I mean, it's really minimal. The same with the tea, because the tea is a bit of a mood-altering device. I really like it. But that's, you know, almost everything has been reduced to the minimalist state in my life. And as a result, my mindset, the clarity of my mind is ever so much greater. My sense of self-discipline in the moment is much more expansive, continuous, not a whole lot of cycling going on. Anyway, this configuration, this astrological configuration in the sky, it really had a profound impact on me. And then in the days following since, I have all these new kind of states of awareness. I see things I did not see before. I feel things I did not feel before. I'm aware of things going on external to me that I was not aware of before, things in other people. I'm also noticing very subtle realities having to do with energy moving between people back and forth, things of that nature. I can't really articulate it very well. It hasn't really come down to the point in my consciousness yet where I can speak effectively about it, but it's been something. And I had a conversation with God recently about all of this, and the mood was rather somber, which is why I'm sharing this today. The mood was rather somber. It was almost as if God was saying, well, Visible, it's the way it is. I've done everything on my end that I possibly can to make it easier for the world, for the people in the world, but they just won't listen. And all the efforts at waking them up, it's just bouncing off of them, a large mass of them. And this new age is coming in, and changes must occur. That's it. So there's going to be some serious unhappiness with the changes that are coming because people are unwilling to adjust. And sounded like an alarm was going off. Anyway, and I could feel the atmosphere of like, whoa, this is something here. And he was talking about the changes, I think, coming in nature. We haven't had our eye on that very much, the world in general. It's all been about the political situation, Ukraine, and Israel, of course, is behind everything going on in Ukraine. They started the whole thing in the first place with Victoria Nuland, who's, one of those Ashcan Nazi individuals that are meddling in the affairs of other people around the world, which they have no real business being engaged in. Or there's the thing with the Palestinian genocide. Israel is genociding the Palestinians, but they weren't getting enough of a body count there, so they decided, well, Lebanon's right next door here. Let's go kill a whole bunch of Lebanese too. And we don't want them coming back after we've wasted them, so let's like level their buildings. So they're dropping massive explosions. So some they're setting off under the ground and blowing upwards. They're doing a lot of really bad stuff. The Israelis and the Ashcan Nazis are the meanest reptile mofos on the planet and that there have ever been in a very, very long time. And the reason for this, too, is because of the purpose of demonstration. It is coming to a point where the big drama is about to go down. So the bad guys got to be really, really bad. And the good guys had to be really, really good. And there are, as usual, not enough good guys. But that's okay. God makes up for it. He swells the ranks with his angels. And he also just takes over people who, what the heck happened, who may be unaware but have qualifications to serve, can be useful in an emergency. And I think God's got his own draft thing going on, where he recruits people to the cause. And he's doing a bit of that. And that happens through awakening. This awakening thing, I know I've been getting comments from some people. Well, I don't see any awakening. What awakening are you talking about everywhere I look? Well, you got to understand it's a projection too. And so if you don't see any awakening, you're probably not experiencing any awakening either. I am, and I see it. I see people waking up. I see it all over the place. I see it in social media, good God. And I even see it in places where I travel around. Yesterday, there was a member of the tribe. I've known her, well, we don't really know each other, but I've been aware of her for years. She's married to this fellow that I used to pass on the walking track often, and he reads books all the time. That's what I remember about him, sitting in a chair by the fire or wherever he is over the community center. Now, this lady used to sometimes on the computer in the big computer room, which is also the puzzle room, and some people like to put puzzles there, and my friend, whom I live with, likes to do these puzzles. So I will go in after I've done my sauna, after working out, and I do my sauna, I come in and I said, well, it's time to go. Well, yesterday, because I go to the gym on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at specific periods, and then I finish up with a sauna, and I walked into the, I have never had a single verbal exchange with this woman before, and she'll always sit right inside around at the first computer, and she'll be busy, whatever she's doing, but she has never acknowledged or noticed me whatsoever. And she's been in there dozens of times when I've come to mention to my friend that I'm ready to go. And this time I walked in, and she turned around, looked up to me with this huge smile on her face and said, "Hi," or something like that. I was just taken aback. I said, "Hi, how are you doing?" But I'm going to tell you, you had to understand all the components and to see how really different this was. And the same thing, I wouldn't even probably mention it would just be one anomaly, but I've had half a dozen or more experiences like this in recent time, which I tie in with what has happened since that alignment in the sky, which brings me to the next stage, which is the August 12th eclipse. Everyone's talking about it right now. Well, I haven't been talking about it, but I am probably late to the party here. I'll get to that in a minute. Let's stay here with this tea experience. I have this tantric perspective on existence. It came to me by default in a way. I don't belong to any religion, and one of the reasons I don't have the reach that I used to have, because I talk about God a lot, but I don't put it in the context of any particular religion. So, I'm kind of not in the groove with all the different sects of belief, but I've seen a reason for it, because to me, religion is a blockage. It's a hindrance in the way of direct communication with God. You have to see God through this lens. When God, you can see God the way Lancelot saw the light of the Grail, indirectly, through any of these religions, but it's incomplete. That's just how they designed it. And then over the years, they went in there and they tweaked it here and they messed around with it here and da-da-da-da, and said, let's take the reincarnation out of it, and well, let's remove that too, otherwise people will start thinking for themselves. They never liked that too much. And that's part of what religion is all about, is controlling people. So I have no use for religion. I like to speak to God directly, and fortunately for me, God now speaks directly back to me. Immediately, all the time. There's no waiting. And this is amazing, because for decades and decades, I have been talking to God, and only when I'm on psychedelics or in some altered state will I get a commentary back, which would be amazing for me, and it would last only as long as whatever had elevated me up to that point. But then, 12 years ago or so, or 10 years ago, I don't know, I can't remember, God said, I'm here now. And since that time, I would talk to him. I'm not here for a few hours or something, or not at all. And then it gradually got to where all the time, anytime, God would converse with me. Now, was it God the Almighty? Yes, as a matter of fact, it is, through a step-down transformer, which is an angel, okay. Now, God is radiating his messages out from the central locus of brilliant, conscious light that don't even try to understand or interpret it. It's beyond human ken. And he directs it through specific angels who represent specific qualities or states of consciousness, and depending on where you're at, depends on the angel you're able to interact with. But God's a multitasker. He can talk to all kinds of people, and he is doing that at all times. But for a lot of people at the lower levels of consciousness, he's got that message which applies to that level of consciousness. He's got a certain message for the public, got another message for the apostles. You got to get into different states of consciousness. You got to be more and more fully committed, and then you get more and more of God. That's how it works. And so yeah, sometimes you get to where you can't quite say what you wanted to say, and then you can wait for the moment to pass, or you can move on to something else. So let's move back to the August 2nd thing. Now, and this is very subjective, and I'm only talking about my own experiences, but since this happened to me, and I tell you all these different things have been occurring, these new states of awareness and such, I think the next stage, because I think this is happening in stages. First there was a lead up to that, then there was the alignment, then there's been the aftermath of the alignment, then comes this eclipse, which is connected to it. And it's a matter of some discourse and conversation on the internet through a whole lot of people right now. None of them know any more than I do about it. And so it goes. Anyway, we are approaching stages of advanced awakening that is about to happen soon. There's going to be this, I mentioned it in a blog posting recently, this pulses are going to start coming out from the heavenly throne, and they are going to hit the sea of consciousness that we're all, riding on, different levels, and it's going to hit you at the level you're at. So some people are going to get very awakened. Some people are going to get somewhat awakened. Some people are just going to bounce off of them, which is part of the problems and why trauma is required to wake some people up, because the bed's burning and that's still not having any effect on them. So they got to be awakened, period. And that often comes with real serious upheavals in their ordinary day-to-day existence. Yeah, that's coming too. So God's doing it by steps, like he usually does, like a director, move from one scene to the next. And as the purpose of demonstration advances, he does it all with music. Yes, it's all sound and vibration. And sometimes, with me, it was that way for a long time. He would speak in pulses of vibrationary sound that were then translated into the language that I speak. And that's part of the case with all of us. Everything is vibration. Everything's made out of the same thing. And through the process of adaptation, I recommend everyone, will go to the Builders of the Aditum website. They have a translation of the Emerald Tablet of Hermes Trismegistus, which includes the as above, so below, as below, so above, for the purpose of the one thing, which through adaptation becomes everything we see out here. All the personalizations of form, all the different variations of experience, of mind, of emotions, all of these things come out of one force adapted to whatever, way it's going to be expressed or realized in or seen or manifested. So there you go. Well, I think I'm going to start closing down now. I don't want to just ramble on and on. And I want to bring some of this out. And it's just an acknowledgement that I'm about to start doing this again, probably on Saturday mornings. And because I have a little more free time then I got plenty of free time. What am I talking about? Anyway. Oh, goodness. The simple pleasures of life. And that's another thing. I could still be smoking 12% vape juice, but I'm not. But if I was, my voice would sound more like Robert Kennedy Jr. And or I might be dead, and no, that wouldn't have happened. Or the same thing with other stuff I used to use. Man, I wanted God, period, no matter what, and whatever I had to do. So I would take massive amounts of mind-altering substances. I would drink to extremes. I did all kinds of things because of the intensity I had. I don't need any of that anymore. God finally came in and met me along the way, and all the rest just disappeared. It just went away years ago. And it just hasn't surfaced anymore, and my well-being has been constant since. I have been really doing well, and I mean, for the amount of time that I've been here, I could have all sorts of maladies and ailments. I mean, the lifestyle I had shouldn't even be alive in the first place. But no, none of it. God cleansed and changed and healed it all, which he'll do for you as well, too. You just have to want it bad enough. It really comes down to that. Want it bad enough. Well, how do you do that? You don't want all these other things. You have to want this more, okay? Because if you just want it casual, yeah, I think I'd like to get that at some point. But meanwhile, what about this? Oh, yeah, I'd like some of that. See, and you compromise yourself because you only have so much will, so much force, so much ability to concentrate and focus it. So you have to want it more than anything else. You have to want it with the intensity of a person who is underwater grasping for oxygen. It's got to be like that, and it is. And then you can break the fabric of the dream. And I know whereof I'm speaking here, okay? And you get into a state where you literally can see reality to an extent from the level you're looking at it at. Okay, I'm not assuming anything greater than that for myself. I'm just, a worker in the vineyards of the Lord, and no special thing should be attached to me in any regard. But God has washed the slate clean for me, and he really has. And so if you want this too, you just have to want it more than anything else. And a lot of the time that comes because everything else has disappointed you so much and there's just nothing left there, or something dramatic has happened, or a lot of it was taken away from you. Any of these things can occur. And then suddenly it awakens in you this fire of divine aspiration. And then it's pretty rapid, really depending on the level of intensity you can bring to it, which often, at an earlier time in life is more likely than later on, because people have lost a great deal of their fire through the usual, the world. So anyway, but hopefully a nice little get together here, and I will be back again probably around this time next week. And this, of course, is our first, as I say, effort in years, and no script or anything. So, hopefully this went well enough and hasn't been all muddled and, like it can get, I guess, for some people. I don't know. I better quit while I'm ahead. Okay. God bless you all, one and all. And may God's love awaken in you, and may the harmony of his presence come upon you. And this is very possible now, and getting more possible, more and more, more and more. I suggest you act on it soonest.